Alright boys, welcome back to another video. Knicks Daily here. Today we're going to be talking about 3 players that the Knicks have or are about to move on from. The first one is Donte DiVincenzo. He was without question one of my favorite Knicks of all time in just one season too, which goes to show how much of an impact he really made on the team. The reason why I'm going to miss Devo so much is because of his ability to shoot the 3 ball on such high level volume. He was putting up over 10 threes a game, guys, and he finished 40% from 3. It's also his improved defense, playmaking, and just his toughness. When you look at the Knicks' identity in the playoffs and late into the season, they were a very physical team that are going to give you your all and that are going to attack and punish you. And that's exactly what Donte DiVincenzo brought to us. Just a spark. He ended up being literally a depth piece, a guy who was just going to be in the middle of our rotation as like an 8th or a 9th man. And then because of Quentin Grimes at the time getting put to the bench, we end up losing Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. And DiVincenzo gets to the starting lineup, gets an increased opportunity, and makes the most of it. Yes, Julius Randle is a way better player than Donte DiVincenzo. He was the best player we gave up in the trade. But in terms of when I envision the Knicks winning a championship, I think more of Donte just because, guys, he can shoot, he can defend. And Brunson, when he's going one-on-one, if his next opportunity to pass the guy next to him, so his next, if he moves the ball, swings it, whatever you want to call it, well, that's Devo. You have a 40% three-point shooter there. And if you guys were watching closely, which I know you are, man, because you guys are legitimately awesome, and I love talking basketball with you in the comments, but if you're looking at it closely, the guy guarding Devo is right on him, right? He's not coming to double Brunson. He's not half and half. He's basically just sitting on Donte because, yeah, you don't want Brunson going one-on-one, but you also don't want him just to swing it to a wide-open Donte DiVincenzo for 3 because we saw time and time again that was impossible for teams to be able to beat the Knicks when the threes are falling that much, because the Knicks, they kill you with their physical defense, they kill you with the rebounding and second chance opportunities. So if their threes are falling and on top of that they're attacking the boards and dominating the paint, the Knicks are unbeatable, right? And we saw that over and over again, that when Donte got hot, we just knew that it was going to be a very good game for us. And yeah, there was a game against the Pacers where Devo couldn't miss and we did lose. But to that point, like half of our rotation was injured and we just weren't able to recover from that, especially because Indiana was throwing 12 healthy guys at us and we had like 7 guys that were out there and playing big minutes coming off of a physical Sixers series. So there's no way probably we had a realistic chance of winning that series. But I am going to miss Devo, just his impact and what he did for us over the season. I mean, I don't want to compare him to J.R. Smith, but the first Knicks jersey I ever bought in my life was actually J.R. Smith. And Devo just makes me want to go out and get a jersey. And this is coming from someone who is not financially stable. So if I'm going to buy a jersey, it's got to be someone that I'm rocking with super heavy. Jalen Brunson's certainly one of those players. Josh Hart's one of those players. And Donte DiVincenzo, to me, was right up there, man. I am sad to see him go. The first thing I did when we made the trade was not, oh my god, Cat, oh my god, Randle. It was literally, no, we gave up Devo. I mean, missing him, I mean, he's just not replaceable. You don't replace a guy that was shooting 10 threes a game on 40%. And the way he was able to cut, the way he impacted winning, I mean, I could probably talk the entire video about Donte DiVincenzo. He progressed so much over the season, and his contracts was one of the biggest steals in the league, just given what he brought to the Knicks. And he was only going to get better, but we had to give up someone to match salary, and Karl-Anthony Towns is one of the most dynamic centers in the history of basketball. So we had to give up something. So if you think about it, giving up Devo and Randle isn't exactly like as much as it probably should be for a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns. And we did give up Keita Bates-Diop and protected first-round pick, top 13. So it's really not that much, but just Devo and what he meant to me was a lot, especially because once a Knick, always a Knick. But let's move on from that, man, and let's talk about Julius Randle. So my thing with Randle is he was playing the best basketball of his career after the first 15 games of the year, which Randle was just flat out bad in. He averaged 26, 9, and 5 on 51% from the field and 33% from 3, 83% from the free throw line, 61% true shooting over a 31-game stretch. He was on pace for his most efficient season as a Knick. Losing Randle to me hurts because I like this the most about him is when shots aren't falling, Randle, you just put the ball into his hands and he can go one-on-one. He's physical. There's just not a lot of players that are going to be able to contain Julius Randle, and he was just the perfect Robin to Jalen Brunson's Batman. And we saw that in January with OG. The Knicks were unstoppable. They were blowing out teams, Minnesota, Denver, Miami. I mean, it just didn't matter who crossed our path. We were beating them. And also, Randle is at his best against the Boston Celtics, a team that we're trying to chase right now. Yeah, I kind of did want to trade Randle just because I was uncertain of him in the playoffs. A guy like Mikal Bridges has had no issues in the playoffs, and he's just perfect for this team because he's one of the best corner three shooters. He can switch, and he doesn't need the ball, and he can still give you 20 nights, just like OG, right? He can give you 15 to 20 a night without even needing the ball. The thing with Randle is there's just a lot of question marks with him. Yes, the potential's there. I mean, Randle could be literally 1B to Brunson's 1A in a playoff series against Boston, for example. But just to move on from him and to get a guy who is the best three-point shooting big in NBA history, 40% in his career from three as a 7-footer for Cat. I mean, no other big has done that, guys. Given, of course, the attempts, 200 threes in a season. Yeah, there's 7-footers that shot 40% from three, but they weren't on the volume of a guy like Cat. So now all of a sudden, you basically swap Randle for Cat. You give up a protected first that was never going to convey anyway. Bates Diop, who wasn't going to play anyway. And then Dantes DiVincenzo, right? I mean, I love the trade for the Knicks, but I'm not going to lie. Giving up Randle definitely... It's a risk for sure because the full potential of Julius Randle and Dantes DiVincenzo, I mean, that's a lot to give up. But I just think we're closer to beating Boston with Cat than we were with Devo and Randle. And also, at first, I didn't really like the trade for OG. I mean, I loved Emmanuel Quickly. RJ Barrett didn't live up to what I thought he would be, but just giving up IQ it's kind of strange to me. But, I mean, that clearly worked out. I also, at first, I was like, Jalen Brunson, an undersized guard? I don't know. So these moves have been working and working out. So to this point, you've got to trust them. You've got to believe in your team. And there's just no reason for me to say I don't like this trade when I've basically been wrong about every move. So I just trust where we're at right now. There's just no other way around it, man. When you're wrong, you're wrong. And then last but certainly not least is Mitchell Robinson. A healthy Mitch, it's basically very, very similar to Julius Randle. Mitch was having his best season of his career. Through the first 21 games, Mitch was averaging 5.3 offensive rebounds. I mean, he was grabbing 17% of the Knicks' missed shots while on the court. That would have been second in the league if he qualified. Mitch, when healthy, is unbelievably good. Even when he wasn't healthy, he shut down Joel Embiid in Game 1. We probably don't beat the Sixers in the playoffs without Mitch. That's the type of impact he makes. But he's missed 125 games since 2020. Mitch has played over 70 games once in his career. I mean, we're looking at a guy who has played in 31 regular season games, the past season. And Mitch he has to go, guys. He has to go. My only concern is, are we going to be able to trade Mitchell Robinson without giving up anything else? Because is a team going to trade for Mitch when he won't be available until, January or December at the earliest? I personally don't know. If we end up keeping Mitch, which I'm going to be honest, this might sound crazy. I kind of hope we do keep Mitch because I love the potential of having Mitch coming off of our bench or just pairing him with Cat. Because again, you have to think of upside here. The upside of Mitchell Robinson is a center who can certainly limit Jokic and Embiid. Giannis, right? These top guys in the league, the 7-footers, these big men, guys that can just get to the basket at will. So if we keep Mitch, we now have a weapon off of the bench that just no other team in basketball is going to have. So you have to keep that in mind. But also, guys, in terms of winning a championship, there can't be any slip-ups. There can't be injury-prone players. Like, we already have OG. So if we're relying on OG and Mitch, I think that's asking for too much. So, yeah, that's where I'm at, guys. Let me know if you disagree or you agree in the comments. Peace.